She must intend to release the attack from as close as possible. Tosaka jumps down from above and throws her jewel at Berserker as she falls. Shards of ice rain on Berserker. Among those shards are 3 giant spear-shaped icicles, each packed with enough magical energy to blow an entire mansion to smithereens. Ilya, quiet until now, suddenly screams at her servant. She must have sensed the danger, but it's too late. Saber's spear, the ice spears aren't falling. They're accelerating towards Berserker. He can't possibly dodge. A 1 in a million opportunity, Saber's desperate attack perfectly coordinated with the ice bullet attacks. It has more than enough magical energy to kill Berserker. However, the hack sword slices through the air. Even as Saber drives him back, he switches a single-handed grip to his axe sword and shatters all 3 ice shards. Blood splatters the clearing. Maybe it's his one arm swing, but he fails to completely destroy the ice, and and when it strikes, it severs one of Berserker's arms. That's not all. The ice freezes over Berserker's arm, completely restraining it. But it only got one arm. What? Saber cries out. It's a reasonable response. Berserker catches Tosaka with his good arm as she falls. Tosaka's face twists in pain. Berserker will have no trouble crushing Tosaka with his hand. Tosaka! I run. I don't care if I drag them down. It doesn't matter if I can't do anything. I'm not going to let Tosaka die. Saber must be too weak to even stand, but somehow she gets on her feet. Tosaka must be in agonizing pain, but she stretches out her hand and as she hangs her head downward. And then... she grins wickedly. Everyone gasps. Saber, me, and even Berserker must have all frozen in our tracks. One person can only have so many tricks up their sleeve. She knew this might happen, and she hadn't even bothered to tell us. A little bit of white there I'm seeing. Oh no, that was the thing. Berserker squeezes harder around her. He's a heartbeat too late. What with your head, motherfucker? 4 bullets of pure light streak towards Berserker. 4 bullets, 4 gems. 4 rapid shots it's at the most extreme close range. That has to be enough to end the Dark Mad Warrior. Or rather, the attack completely snuffs out his life. It must have blown Berserker's head clean off. The blood spatter even reaches me 10 meters from where Berserker stands. There's kind of a lot of blood in the mess, but I don't think she overdid it. Our opponent was a monster. Berserker would have crushed Tosaka if she hadn't blown his head off. Phew. I slow my frantic run. Tosaka is still in Berserker's grip, but the battle's over. Berserker's face is still hidden in a plume of smoke. From that singing sound, it must have been one hell of an explosion. No way. I hear Tosaka's voice. She's looking at the smoke in disbelief. Hold on. Am I imagining things? Did Berserker stand his hand tighten on Tosaka? Tosaka staring at the plume of smoke. It doesn't last long. The smoke starts to dissipate. And in the clearing air, Berserker's face, the face that should have been blown off his body, appears. Oh shit. Tosaka cowers under the evil demon's gaze, at a loss for words. Laughter fills the air. Elia, who's remained at the side of the clearing, laughs delightfully. Laughs delightedly. Remember what she said earlier? She must have figured something out from what Elia just told her. Tosaka looks aghast. Her face is twisting in regret. Yeah, I think we had those before. The sacred sword that represents King Arthur, England's King of Knights. Caliburn symbolizes the king whom the mage Merlin led to pull from the sword of appointment. It is distinct from the sacred sword Excalibur bestowed by the Fairy of the Lake. It is, and its characteristics as a noble phantasm differ somewhat. However, Saber seems to be profoundly attached to the sword. Since swords are a symbol of power, the sword of kings have always been relegated to an ornate ceremonial role. This marks the largest difference between Excalibur and Caliburn. In exchange for its regal beauty, it is nowhere near as effective as a weapon as Excalibur. According to legend, Caliburn broke when King Arthur fought in a battle that violated the principles of chivalry. God Hand, 12 labors. A hidden ability, become automatically resurrected rays in the event one dies. Rays has one stock of 11. In other words, Berserker will not disappear unless he is defeated 12 times. Rank B, anti-personnel, range, max targets one person, himself. I can't hear Elia's voice clearly. From the corner of my eye, I see the Saber charging Berserker. Saber dashes over. Tosaka tries to open Saber's fingers, but they won't budge. And then... the burning eyes glare at Tosaka. Tosaka screams. Berserker's enormous fingers dig into Tosaka, trying to rip her out her insides. There's only one outcome. Tosaka's lifeless body being crushed to nothing. I run. I forget who I'm up against. I even forget where I am. My mind is completely burned out. Saber cuts towards Berserker. Her invisible sword swings at Berserker's defenseless arm, as if slicing through a radish. But it's no use. Saber's attack pings harmlessly off Berserker's arm. His grip on Tosaka doesn't loosen. Just moving must be agony for Saber. She swings her sword desperately, blood trickling from her mouth. She freezes the instant she sees me rushing at Berserker. Let go of her, you bastard! I slap mindlessly into the back, mindlessly at his back with my bow. The giant is unfazed. He doesn't consider me a threat. My fingers are getting numb. What the hell is he? If I'm the one going numb from hitting him. I look up when I hear Saber. In that instant, I go flying through the air like a leaf. Gah! I hit the ground and tumble like a bit of stray garbage. Berserker smacked me away with a frozen sword. With that frozen sword, I try to block the attack with my bow, but it shatters instantly, and I'm thrown so far away. I writhe in pain. That breaking sound didn't come from the bow. One of my arms is bent at the wrong angle, in the wrong spot. When I breathe in, my lungs hurt so bad I want to puke them up. I can't breathe properly with all the blood flooding my mouth. But that doesn't matter. Breathing will just make me pass out. Better than I not breathe. I wake up. Right now, I need to get to him. I run. It's my turn. I'm going to break his arm and save Tosaka. He must have eyes in the back of his head. He swings his sword casually, like he's batting aside a fly. I can dodge it. I won't let an arm that's completely frozen and hit me so easily. Ha! Damn, my body's sinking. He must have grazed my leg. Damn him. He didn't even touch my leg, but he somehow managed to break it anyway. I can't do that. I can't let Tosaka die. What do I need to do to save her? A weapon, a blade, it would be best. With my feet broken, and with my feet broken pieces, at my feet broken pieces of a bow. Above me, the sword, Berserker's sword swinging right at me. There's no time to think. I let magical energy flow through me. Strengthening succeeds easily, but down Berserker comes Berserker's sword. The fragments are finally pulverized. I meant to dodge, but instead my body slams to the ground. Clearly, there is no point in strengthening broken shards. I'll have to do this from scratch. It shouldn't be impossible. Anyone can imitate as long as they have an example to follow. I just need to duplicate the foundation, structure, work, experience, time, and... The giant turns around. I must have decided to kill the little nuisance before finishing Tosaka off. I push up from the ground and glare at the giant. There's no fear. I'm too burned out for fear. But behind me... I see someone prepared to disappear. I see someone prepared to use the sacred sword. Just checking. Yeah, so I need to the wrong choice here will lead to to a bad end. Just checking. Yeah. Don't use it. Wind peels back from the blade. The golden sword begins to reveal itself in Saber's hand. I told her not to use it. The sword I told her never to use, no matter what. I snap. The last thread of what had been holding me together finally gives. Don't use it, Saber! My left hand burns. The command spell stroke disappears. I don't care. To hell with that. All I know is that if she uses it, she'll disappear. You're already on your last legs just from unleashing your sword. You can't use it right now. So just hold on. If you can't use your sword, I'll make it when you can use. It's so obvious. It's the only thing I can do. I have to make it. I have to make something that won't lose. I have to imagine the strongest weapon. I have to imagine the ultimate imitation. It has to fool everyone, even me. It shouldn't be that hard. It's not something impossible. Since the beginning, my body has been a specialized magic circuit for this purpose alone. Hup! I leap up. Project Saber's sword. Projected Saber's sword. That could have popped up later. My entire body burns like it's on fire. My left hand is crimson. Saber's voice rings with shocked disbelief. She's staring at the weapon in my hands, at the thing that shouldn't exist. Oh. The sword seems to have a will of its own. Oh! The golden blade moves as if it's being drawn to the giant's arm. It slashes at and tearing through the arm. Tosaka falls to the ground along with the arm that's been holding her. The golden sword shatters as if it had been made of glass. My blood begins to flow backward. It doesn't matter. The sword broke. That's impossible. If I imitated that sword, it shouldn't have shattered like that. It shattered because it wasn't sufficient. My image of the sword wasn't enough. Berserker's furious gaze turns toward me. His massive sword swings at me. This time, he's determined to cut me in half. It doesn't matter. Berserker, you're not my enemy right now. I'm only fighting against one person right now. The last one wasn't perfect. My image of it was flawed. The sword that should have been invincible broke. If I'm to duplicate things, I need to work on not just their shape, but also their maker. I hear the others holding their breath. In front of me, I see the axe sword rushing towards me, like an oncoming storm, and a half-formed sword ready to block it. In desperation, I try to use the sword to block the incoming blade, but that doesn't matter to me. Right now, I need to finish this blade and make it real. Another mistake. You're not fit for fighting, Shiromiya. Your battle is supposed to be a mental one, a fight against your own self. You don't have to remind me. What I need to do is simple. Projection, start. I concentrate. I'm challenging my own self. There can be neither deviation nor compromise. Determining creation ideology, anticipating base essence, duplicating material structure, replicating the forger's skill, resonating in the possessor's experience, imitating the uncountable years, and surpassing every manufacturing process. Illusion shall blind with reality to forge a sword. Fight music, let's go! The giant roars. The sword deflects the countless guts assailing me from the enemy's furious attacks. But that's about it. I'm knocked away from him. The moment I come to, the sword leaves everything to me. The attacks are blocked so easily. I blocked so easily a moment ago, now toss me around so effortlessly. I can't feel my arm. The skin on my wrist is blistered and red. I'm surprised I can even keep my grip on the sword. My legs do not work. I can only imagine every muscle shredded to ribbons. I can't get up. I made a sword that surpasses Berserker, but that's all. I'm just the one who made it. I can't wield the sword I worked so hard to make. Hey Nanalia, welcome to the stream. How was your day? Thanks for the redeems. A shadow looms over me. He must know who he has to kill first now. I rush away and Berserker rushes after me with a gust of wind. His enormous sword swings towards me, but is deflected. Eh? In complete disbelief, I realize another hand is closing around my own. The air splits around me. The giant attacks with all his might, trying to destroy everything around him. But right before that happens... She's so close. I can hear her voice over the din. If Berserker is a Stormfront coming to attack me, Saber is a gale rushing to my side. Saber sprints over to me and twists around and gripping me firmly. The rock sword shatters. The golden flash explodes through the giant's axe sword and continues ahead, slicing through Berserker's rock-like body without slowing. Maybe I copied the form so well, I copied some of its abilities too. The golden sword lodges deep in Berserker's body and glows brilliantly. So brilliantly that light pours from the giant's body. And then, in an instant, the light fades and the forest falls silent. Excuse me. All the strength flees my limbs. The heat that had been surging through me rapidly cools. The sword I made begins to disappear. I watch it vacantly. Saber and I remain together, holding the sword in our hands until it disappeared completely. Wind sweeps through the clearing. The earth-shaking howl and the blade that had churned up the very air are gone. The previously invincible giant, now immobile, looks to the night to defeated him and speaks in a low, rumbling voice. That was Berserker! I forgot he talked! Damn, I want him to talk in FGO now. Give us another class of Heracles so he can talk. Saber nods quietly. Berserker's chest opens up. He begins to dissolve. His body begins to crumble like wet sand, beginning where the sword pierced him and rapidly expanding outward. His dying words are spoken without emotion. The mad warrior keeps his role until his very end, and fades away in a dispersing haze into the misty morning air. Dizziness rocks me where I stand. This is probably the price for such excessive use of magecraft. The blood that rages through me is putting pressure on my brain, spreading far too much oxygen out to the rest of my body. My head feels like it could split open. The enemy has disappeared, and whatever was numbing the pain earlier has faded. As if to make me pay the accumulated toll of this incredible battle, the dizziness and headache crashes into me like twin meteors. I'm about to collapse, but Saber supports me. Saber shouldn't have the energy for that either at this point. No, I'm fine. I've got a few broken bones, but nothing fatal. I've got that healing thing, and it's already kicking in, so I'll be fine. But there's someone I have to talk to first. Saber stands ready. Ilya stares at where Berserker had been standing, her eyes hollow. No, Saber, don't hurt Ilya. Without Berserker, she's... I stop Saber with the last remaining strength I have. Ilya doesn't seem to notice we're here. She just stares at the ground. She sounds like an abandoned child. Ilya lifts her head absent-mindedly. It happens suddenly. Ilya collapses like a puppet with its strings cut. What? I don't know what happened. I just stare at Ilya where she lies. All right, Rin was dying. At almost the same moment, Tosaka raises her hand, and it's like a middle finger, and she's going, "Fuck you! I'm here too, you know." She's free now that Berserker's arm disappeared. I must have loosened up at the moment I learned Tosaka was safe. My vision blurs, and I can feel my body trying to pass out. I can't show that kind of weakness. We may have defeated Berserker, but we're still in the forest. Weary as we are, we have to force ourselves to get out of the forest. I look up at the sky as it begins to lighten. The town is a long way away. All my allies are wounded, and every single inch of me burns. And yet, morning has come. We survived a night I was prepared not to. After defeating our greatest enemy, we leave the winter forest. February 12th. Interval level 4. The sky was a pale gray. I'm actually going to take a bit of a break to check something. And if it's a food break, I'll let you guys know. So give me a sec, guys. No food break yet. Hello? Game? The sky was still pale gray. Was it dawn or dusk? It's hard to tell. The vast sky overhead and a wide field stretching out on all sides. The sky seemed close enough to touch. Clouds low enough to grab hold of. This was one of the battlefields she fought on, but there was no longer any cavalry in her service. The sprawling golden meadow was gone. Instead, unfolding under the dull sky was the remnant of the battlefield. No emotion. She must have seen this kind of thing almost daily. Her desolate heart was empty. As she leaned against the golden sword, she exhaled deeply and let her shoulders relax. The battle must have ended. After glancing over the bodies of the defeated soldiers, she returned to her camp. Those were the battles she experienced. Her cold, calm demeanor remained unchanged. No matter the predicament she's been in, she remained just like the woman I've always known. And then I see the dream of a king. The moment she drew the sword, she stopped being human. She took over for her father as a feudal lord and became a king with many knights. She was known as King Arthur, an Ultria, the life of a girl who once aspired to be a knight changing so radically. She acted like she was as the king's son, the ruler of territories, and knights had to be male. Only her father and the mage knew the king was female. She covered herself in iron and hid that truth for the rest of her life. There were those who had their suspicions. But the King of Knights, who wielded the sacred sword, knew neither injury nor age. Excalibur was blessed with the protection of the fairies, making its possessor immortal. Okay, I think that's the sign for me to take a food break. Give me a sec, guys. All right, I'm back. Jesus, how long was I away? I think I was away for like, if we're being generous, almost half an hour. Excalibur was blessed with the protection of the fairies, making its possessor immortal. As such, nobody questioned her tiny frame, which was much too small for a knight, or her face, which may have appeared girlish. Instead, she was hailed as a truly beautiful king. And in fact, the king was invincible. Neither size nor appearance mattered. Those who lived in fear of the savage invaders desired a strong king, and the valiant knights would follow only a truly superior leader. The king satisfied each of these conditions, and so nobody questioned the king's identity. And it did not matter if the king was a child or a woman. All that mattered was that the king protected the nation. The king was fair and selfless, and always stood on the front line, fighting and defeating the nation's enemies on the battlefield. Many enemies and citizens died, but the king was always just, and she played her role as king better than anyone else. There was no room to suspect otherwise, and any such suspicions would be pointless while the king was right in any case. She knew no defeat on the battlefield. Her army reformed the lost cavalry and then charged across the battlefield, defeating foreign infantry and smashing through their defenses. Did she always stand on the front lines because her nation was behind her? Before she headed out to battle, she had to cast aside any citizens. When she was on the battlefield, she had to cut down all her enemies. As her battles were fought in defense of her nation, it was common to wring villages dry to support the army. In that sense, no knight killed as many as she did. I can't tell if she ever really felt that burden. It's not something I can really know from a dream. But I do know she didn't have a moment of doubt or hesitation on the battlefield. Grief never touched her thoughts when she sat on the throne. A king is not human. Human emotions would make it impossible to protect people. She kept to her oath, never wavering. She addressed the issues facing her nation, and she worked on matters of political concern. She ruled without wavering, and she punished the deserving without error. And after winning so many battles, unifying so many clans, and punishing hundreds of criminals, King Arthur doesn't have a human heart. One of the knights in her entourage murmured this. Everyone must have felt the same way. The more perfect she carried herself as a king, the more everyone questioned their monarch. There is no way someone devoid of human emotion can rule humans. Several reputable knights left the White Castle of Camelot, but the king accepted this as inevitable and incorporated it into her rule. And so the fair king, once so admired by her knights, began to isolate herself. Such trivialities were of no concern to the king. Even if she was deserted, feared, or betrayed, her heart would remain unchanged. It couldn't be helped. The moment she took that sword, she abandoned her emotions. And then her final battle began. The Battle of Badon Hill ended in complete victory, and that in its capable conclusion led to the Savage Clan finally offering peace. The Savage Clans finally offering peace. And so the nation that had been holding its breath, waiting to be destroyed, knew a moment of peace. The age of warfare, where a nation leaned on a singular hero, came to an end. Britain was finally going to become a nation she always dreamed of. The scene starts to fade away. I realize the dream is ending and I'm about to wake up. I can feel myself drifting closer to wakefulness. But before that happens, something really pissed me off. She's stupid. Oh, she's strong and a gifted fighter, but there's a difference between being good at fighting and being cut out for it. The people around her pissed me off too. If she didn't notice it, someone else around her should have told her, or she would go on making the same mistake forever. Seriously, how the hell did she have so many people around her and not one told her the truth? I wake up. We escaped Elia's forest and returned home yesterday afternoon. Tosaka went back to her room, complaining her stomach hurt, and my headache wasn't getting any better, so we all decided to just go to sleep. I must have been in the extra weight. It must have been the extra weight I was lugging around. As soon as I got to bed, I couldn't get back up. Saber was the only one who seemed fine, and Tosaka and I left her to guard the house while we slept. And then... So I slept half a day. At least my headache's gone. I'm relieved. The whole thing with Berserker. The headache I got after copying Saber's sword was unreal. If I had kept up, my head might have just split down the middle. Then I notice. Huh? Saber is sitting on the floor right next to my head. Saber, why are you glaring at me like that first thing in the morning? Did something happen while I was asleep? Hmm? Saber gets up and heads silently out of my room. What was that about? I don't know why Saber's acting strange. I'm really not sure, but if she's sitting by my bedside the whole time, if she was sitting by my bedside the whole time, was she nursing me back to health? The moment that I have that thought, the scene of last night comes back to me. But what the hell am I thinking? I shake my head and rid myself for those impure thoughts. That night, my contract with Saber was entirely about my duty as a master. If I don't rationalize it like that, I will never be able to look at Saber again. Calm thoughts. We acted normal when we were coming home yesterday. That's all I need to do. No, I was actually just tired yesterday, but I still need to act normal. Besides, Saber wouldn't like me acting like this. Okay, I just need to calm down and make breakfast. I take a deep breath and get changed. It's 9 in the morning. Saber hasn't eaten since lunch yesterday, so she must be hungry. 9 is so late, it's practically not even morning anymore. As hungry as Saber must be, I should probably make a hearty breakfast. No, everyone's still asleep. Considering what had happened yesterday, it's probably best to let them sleep. I'll leave their food out so they can eat whenever they like. I know, I feel better now, so let's head to the dojo once we finish eating. You almost died, you fucking moron! It's not like I don't care about you or anything. Fucking idiot! Why not? It's our daily routine. What's wrong, Saber? Did I say something weird? I see. You know, you may be right. The common enemy we all share in Berserker is gone now. We teamed up to make an enemy far stronger, to take on an enemy far stronger than us, and that's why I trained furiously in such a short period of time. But I'd like to keep training. I'm still an untrained mage, and I and I get to see the real you when you wield a sword. That makes it easier for me to talk to you, too. Well, I say easy, but what I mean is that I kind of enjoy it. You sure do. At least you don't hold back. I prefer it that way. Besides, I think you get loosened up as well. Anyway, our routine has us sparring in the morning, and don't take the few pleasures I have.